Where is Jesse Galganov? He was going to start medical school when he got back, but he first wanted to travel. And he was going to take the Santa Cruz Trail in Peru, which is a very difficult trail to navigate that takes hikers about 4 days at a high altitude. This story starts on September 24th, 2017, when Jesse was taking off on this trek. His plan was to go backpacking through South America and Southeast Asia, and his first stop being Peru, where he was going to hike the famous Santa Cruz Trail. He was an experienced traveler and hiker. On September 24th, 2017, he left Montreal and headed to his first stop in Peru. He texted his mom, Elisa, on September 28th and said he's leaving to go hiking, wouldn't be able to text her for a few days, but he'd for sure text her by October 2nd. Alyssa became alarmed when he did not text her by October 2nd. And at this point, she was given some confusing information as a hostel that he stayed in said that he had checked in, then later changed the story to say he was never there. The initial investigation was hindered by local police. It's a backward and corrupt country, said his mother, with a lack of security and organization. Registration logs on the trail were incomplete, missing. Cell phone providers initially wouldn't release any details of where his device was last used. The Park Service administrator said no one was registered on the trail that day that Jesse went hiking. It's a whole different cultural, Alyssa says, and the police aren't even motivated. They have to be pushed. Mule drivers that frequent the trail have been reluctant to help investigators. They come from a very close-knit community, and they don't want to be blamed if his body is found on the trail. Alyssa said at this point she may file a lawsuit against the Huascarán National Park for negligence as well as fraud related to the forgeries on the registration documents. It's not a place where any traveler should go until it is made safe, according to Alyssa. She's done her own fundraising and sold off personal assets in order to go over there and locate him. Magnus International Search and Rescue developed a personality profile for Jesse and actually got 2 French tourists who had spoken with Jesse on the trail that day and said he seemed disoriented and told them he felt sick. From this account, it is believed that Jesse may have been suffering altitude sickness. October 1st, he told the group that he was going to get water. After that meeting, there was no other sign of Jesse. He was not found anywhere close on the route. So either he was carried out of the area and hidden carefully, or he succumbed. He wandered off the trail and succumbed to all altitude sickness. None of his belongings or him have ever been recovered. So Alyssa actually traveled to Peru, hired a guide, and walked the trail that Jesse walked. Alyssa said the trail's difficult to navigate, dangerous, and poorly marked. There are jagged rock fragments known as scree and slippery rock sheets. Alyssa looked for signs of her lost son. Now she says she walks the trail to raise awareness and feel closer to Jesse. He was not just my son, he was my best friend. We took ski trips out west alone and loved spending time together. We talked about everything. This had to be a huge loss for her. So this is where we're going to ask the cards, because the father, Todd Galganov, seems to believe that he was abducted and put into like some kind of slave labor. And the mother believes that because he was disoriented, he needed water, that he just wandered off the trail and succumbed somewhere. So we're going to ask the Anna K Tarot. We're going to pull 3 cards, and we're just going to ask the question, what happened to Jesse? What happened to Jesse on that trail in Peru? And I'm going to start laying the cards down. So this is kind of interesting. The first Anna K card has a trail. I'm going to get my pointer here. Look at the trail here. And it's a sunny day. And it's a good day to be on the trail. There's not any, you know. Oh, this is interesting. I have looked at this card probably 100 times, and I have never noticed that there is a little house here with a person outside. I have never noticed it. And now there's a building over here. Well, what? I have always looked at that card and said that card didn't have any people in, and now I'm pulling this, and there's people in the card. See that? 2 buildings and a person by the one little building. Oh, this is going to be interesting. I can't wait to pull the second card. So obviously this is portraying him on the trail, which is really interesting. This could portray him at the hostel, you know, right? That could be validation that he went to the hostel even though he said he was there, he wasn't there. So now we've got somebody who is suffering. So this person is definitely suffering. Out in the elements, has a backpack. See the backpack? It's very interesting. So there were other people on the trail that he might have encountered, but they chose not to do anything to help him, which is interesting. So we're going to pull a third card. My camera's not always good at focusing. I think I need a new camera. All right, so there it is. Card number 2. What happened to Jesse? We really want to know for closure for this. So it does look like he came in contact with other people. So, you know, visiting. So wherever he stayed, you know, he was obviously very friendly visiting with people. This is the 5 of Wands. Now rods are wands. So this means that he was suffering, and we have to find out more because this is the card about challenges. I mean, here they're having a fun challenge of arm wrestling, but in other decks that can be quite a challenge. So let's go ahead and pull a few more cards in Anna Kay to try to get a story of what happened to him. So this almost looks like that he's out there by himself. Boy, that just wasn't the thing to do, was it, on a dangerous trail like that? But I feel like he loved hiking so much that that I think he didn't realize. Now that's the 5 of Swords. And this can be encountering, this is interesting. So somebody could have come across him in his weakened state. All right, switching to another deck. So I'm not going to come to a conclusion just because these cards are indicating that in this, in this weakened state, he could have come across somebody who was kind of nasty. Somebody nasty. All right. So we'll continue with the Robin Wood, and we're going to start over and start the story. All right, Robin Wood. So he was a very trusting person. He was a very trusting person. This just indicates that he would have given the shirt off his back to anybody, and that there were people on this trip that were helpful to him. He was evidently getting information. Here shows like he stepped off the trail. I feel like there's a trail back there. See the trail? And I feel like he stepped off the trail trying to find water or finding water. Stepped off the trail to find water. Eight of Wands indicates quick movement. Made a quick movement. And here we have the Ace of Cups, which is a water element. I wonder if he fell into a body of water, if he actually found water. I wonder if there is a body of water there. Fell into a body of water and like hypothermia kicked in, like hypothermia. So I'm going to ask the direct question. Did he simply die of the elements, or did somebody steal him for some kind of slave labor? And we're going to pull one card. This is somebody who took on too difficult. Look at all these cards where is walking on a trail. It's amazing how many cards here are showing the trail, right? And how difficult. This is the burdens. You know, he took on a trail that he wasn't qualified, I don't think, to take on this trail, especially by himself. So I'm just going to pull a few cards. This is the Eight of Pentacles. So, you know, he had a lot of confidence. He had a lot of confidence in his ability. He had worked up, you know, some feeling of expertise. Like he had a certain feeling of expertise. And none of these cards are indicating anything to do with foul play. This just means that he took on more than he can handle. He was really looking forward to his studies, you know, and he had just a great sense of freedom when he was out on the trail. He was evidently a freedom seeker. And then I'll just take one more deck, the Haunted House Tarot. Now this one, don't be shocked because this is Haunted House, okay? I just want to pull one and say, is there anything suspicious that anything suspicious that would have happened to this Jesse on this trail? Anything suspicious? You know, this is an interesting card because it, you know, that card does indicate that there is a lot of, you know, it kind of is an agreement with the mother that there's a lot of deception in that country. But that being said, I have to pull another one. This is the Moon card, which does talk about deception. But I think that, I wonder if they found him passed away, on the trail and didn't want that kind of bad publicity, so they maybe hid him. Is that possible? So let's see. It'd be interesting if the dogs could pick up the scent of that. But let's just see. Let me just ask that. Did somebody pick him up at any point and move his body? This is an interesting card. No wonder she doesn't trust. No wonder she doesn't trust anybody over there. This is the Five of Swords. Wait a minute. Didn't we get the Five of Swords in that other one? What was that one? Is this the... Yeah, here we go. 2 Five of Swords. There we go. When you use different decks and you get 2 cards... So this is interesting. So now it makes me wonder, did they intervene when he was still alive or passed? Because the cards were indicating that he could have just passed away from the elements. So I'm going to ask the Haunted House Tarot again, because Five of Swords is kind of crookedness. I don't like asking if he's alive right now, but I feel like that's the only question left. At this point, is Jesse Galganov alive? This is going to be the question. No, with the angels. Okay. So, I mean, this is the Queen of Cups, but there's an angel there. So, I feel like that angel in the card means that you've gone to the other side. And there again, she's in water. So it feels like he could have maybe passed away, was found by somebody. They said, we don't want, you know, bodies on this trail because then people won't, whatever, you know, corruptness it is. So let me just ask, where is, I don't know if I can even determine this. Why would I ask this? Where is his body right now? Right now, where is Jesse's body? And I don't know if I can determine this or not. That looks like rats and mice thrown somewhere in a building. put in a building where there's rats and mice. He's still in that country because I still get the globe. So he hasn't been, it's like not out of the country or anything like that because that's the globe. He's definitely with the angels. So there he is. He's definitely with the angels. I don't know if I can get a hint from this. If I was to get a hint, and this is allegedly, and this is for entertainment purposes only, and allegedly, it looks like other gravestones here. So maybe he was placed where in a near, like I would be interested if there was a cemetery and there was like an unmarked grave, or this is where people were buried. It looks like, you know what I'm saying? Doesn't that look like tombstones there? I'm just saying. This is allegedly, and there he is, a beautiful angel. He's a beautiful angel, but that looks like some kind of like really old tombstones. So this is just allegedly. I feel like I agree with the mother that he is passed away, and that maybe it is possible that because of the Five of Swords that they didn't want his body on the trail for some reason, or they didn't want his body there for some reason. So I don't know why my camera's not focusing on this. This camera is not the best camera. So let's just offer our thoughts and prayers to the family. This is him with his mother. What a nice kid he was. This is such a tragedy. What a nice kid. This is him with his father. This is just really tragic all the way around. Let's just take a moment to offer our prayers and thoughts to the family and to this wonderful young man who had his life cut short. And of course, this is just a tarot reading. This isn't based on any kind of factual evidence. It's just that I was using the tarot cards to see if I could figure out what happened to this young man. So we'll just send our thoughts and prayers and let it go at that. And you can come to your own conclusions based on, your review of the cards. And I'd be interested in your comments if you want to leave your comments below on what you think is happening.